Welcome back, friends, and thank you for joining me today. As you can tell, we are still in our beautiful kitchen at Bottega. And if you remember correctly, I promise you the best falafel recipe in the world. So I won't waste any time. I'm gonna show you how it's done. Let's have a quick look at the ingredients so we can get the falafels cooking. We have chickpeas, fresh parsley and fresh mint. Over here I have a little bit of breadcrumb, flour and salt. Cumin is one of those spices that comes around a lot in Middle Eastern flavors. And a little bit of fresh garlic, a little bit of onions. And we have cilantro somewhere in between this beautiful collection of herbs that we have. We're going to use a little cilantro as well. We're going to start with white onion, and you're going to use a good amount. So I have about half here for 2 cups or so of chickpeas. A little bit of garlic, about 2 cloves. Chop them up roughly because they're going to go in the blender. And I have made falafel many times in my life. I was always very intrigued by these little balls that just kind of burst and explode with flavor in your mouth. But I was never quite happy with the final result that I had. Then one day I was really fortunate. I was traveling in Thailand. I was sitting in this beautiful restaurant called Jerusalem Falafel. And you know, I started going there quite often. And what happened is I noticed something about the falafel. The falafels were really, really green, like bright, bright green. So I started talking to the owner and we sort of became friends, and I tried to convince him. I said, come on, I'm going on the other side of the war, share your recipe with me, please. And he did. He didn't share a recipe, but he gave me some pointers to come close to his perfect falafels. And the trick to the perfect falafel is this beautiful bouquet of parsley. I'm just gonna take the whole thing. Take the stem out because it's a little bit hard for the blender to process. We're just gonna jam it all in there. We're gonna add a little bit of mint for just to that background of your mouth. Just keep that freshness because the flavors are gonna be quite strong. I'm gonna add a couple of tablespoons of breadcrumbs. A couple of tablespoons of flour. This is what is going to help the dough to dry out slightly so that when we fry it, it's going to hold on together. I'm going to add cumin. Cumin is a perfect complement to all the flavors that we have going on, to the onions, to the garlic, the chickpeas and the parsley. So don't be shy with it. Now, salt is very important in this dish. The chickpeas really need the salt to be able to really shine. So what we're going to do, we're going to start with what I think is the correct amount. We're going to do a tester, make sure that it works fine, and then we're going to adjust our flavors from there. So we have onions, chickpeas, parsley, fresh mint, the breadcrumbs and the flour, the cumin, the salt. I'm going to add a little bit of cilantro. And this is going to create a symphony of fresh herbs. So you're going to know, you're not going to know what's going on in your mouth. You're going to be like, what's going on? They're going to be those little balls that explode with flavor. Crispy in the outside, very creamy in the inside. So our mix is perfectly blended at this point, and you can tell the beautiful bright green color that it has. I want to touch it, so it's slightly sticky. Now, this is a little bit of the tricky part when you're making falafel. The flour and the breadcrumb is what holds it together. But the more flour you add, the more breadcrumbs you add, the tougher and drier it's going to be. So you want to find that perfect balance. So I think from experience, I'm just going to add a little bit more flour at this point. Just because it's slightly too sticky. It should be sticky to your hands though, don't forget that. It's at that texture that you can almost use your hands to grab it, but not quite. So as you start playing with it, your hands will get dirty and it's kind of starting to stick to it. So that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to add a little bit of flour, a quick blend. Now this mixture needs to rest and just relax for about 10-15 minutes would be the best. So we're gonna put it away in the fridge and take advantage of the time and maybe do a little bit of cleaning. And actually, there is something that I need to tell you. As this mix is resting in the fridge, and look at this color. It's just amazing. What we're gonna need to do is turn our oil on. So if I move over here, and I'm just preparing a little extra salad for us. So I have a nice large pot. There is about, how many inches is that? I don't know, I say 2 centimeters of oil. I use grapeseed oil. And I'm just gonna slowly let this come to temperature. It's gonna take about 10 minutes. Now you're gonna ask me, what is the perfect temperature for frying falafels? And I don't have a thermometer, I don't know, but I can show you a little trick. So this spoon, as I told you many times, the spoon is one of your best friends in the kitchen. The spoon has been in more sauces, has tried more pastas than I ever done in my whole life. So what you wanna do, because it's made of wood, when you wash it, it's gonna absorb water. So what you wanna do, you're gonna stick right inside. See these bubbles? That's the water that is trapped inside our spoon that is starting to come out because it's forced out by the hot oil. That means our temperature, our oil has come to temperature. So I don't want it any hotter than that. And I'm just gonna turn it to a nice low, medium kind of heat. And again, the first falafel that we're gonna try to fry is gonna be the most important one. We're gonna learn a lot. And the dough is going to tell us what's going on about the oil, what's going on about the falafel. If our falafel breaks down, it means we need a little bit of extra binding to help it keep it together. If it starts going too hot and it's kind of splashing and you need to step back and you're like, okay, it just means the oil is too hot, so we're going to have to let it rest for a second. But for now, let's just let our dough rest in the fridge for a few minutes. We're ready to start cooking our falafel. This is exciting, a little bit tricky, so we have to stay focused and make sure that we're doing the best job that we can. So our falafel dough, after it's set in the fridge for a little bit, it's just slightly sticky. You can tell it kind of sticks to my hand, but I should be able to work it with my hands. And you can shape, usually, it doesn't really matter actually what kind of shape they are. So first thing first, I want to try one falafel and make sure that it holds together. You want to be ready when when you're at these points, because the whole process is going to be quite quick. There is a pot of hot oil, so you want to make sure that everything that you need is right around you. And what you need is some kind of spatula with holes so you can lift up your falafels and allow them to drape the excess oil. And you have a bowl lined with some paper towel so that you can place them on top and allow the falafel to just rest and let out, the little extra oil. So I have my taster falafel, and this is a really exciting moment because many things could happen. The falafel could explode, and the oil might get a little bit dirty, or it could just cook beautifully. And you want to just drop it in the oil gently. I'm saying the oil temperature right now is perfect, so it's kind of like dancing all around our falafel, but at the same time it's not making it all crazy. It's not bubbling all crazy. So you just want to make sure, those are going to be good. I'm very excited. So you see there is a little bit of color. So because it's green, the hot oil is going to make it almost dark. You're going to think like, this looks burnt. I'm going to say, trust me on this one. Don't worry if they look burnt or almost burnt, because they're going to taste absolutely wonderful. So a falafel will cook for about probably 2 or 3 minutes. And you want to make sure that every once in a while you just give it a toss and turn. So it's holding its shape perfectly, and that I'm very happy with because it means I have enough flour. But I can also tell, just from touching it, it has that same crispiness that bread has. That beautiful sound that just makes me smile. So I'm just gonna remove it. And so this is going to be our falafel. You can tell it's quite dark, and that's exactly what you're looking for. It could even go a little bit darker. Now it's going to be pretty hot, but what we need to do is test it and make sure that the seasoning is okay, that it's holding together properly. Now watch magic happen. See, beautiful, crispy in the outside, creamy and delicious in the inside. That's exactly what you're looking for. My friend will be very famous, very, very happy to see this. And I apologize to you, my Thai friend, but I cannot remember your name. I might just, if you don't mind, I might just eat this other half too. So we have a nice flavor. I want to add a little bit of extra salt. And what I love about falafel is that, you know, as the creaminess of the falafel hits your mouth, now you can taste all these different flavors. And I can't really taste garlic. I can't really taste, you know, all the herbs. But there is something that is happening. You know, the mint is kind of created like that beautiful freshness. You know, that's what's, yeah, lots going on in my mouth right now. So I can't wait for you to try it. I'm going to give a quick mix. Now, you want to try to work with this when it's in the fridge. It just makes it a little bit easier and the mix stays a little bit better. If it gets too sticky, you can just use 2 spoons. And this is, traditionally, this is how it's actually, the balls are actually shaped. They don't have to be the same, they don't have to be the same size. They don't have to be perfectly shaped. And the spoons just make it so you're not gonna get your hands dirty because they're quite sticky. So I don't know if you see what I'm doing. I grab about almost a tablespoon and then I just shape it with my other spoon helping me. So when you first put these guys in the oil, first of all, make sure that you don't put too many at the same time because that's going to drop the temperature of the oil. And we know from our testing that the oil is a perfect temperature. And at the same time, you don't want to put too many. Actually, I feel like those are just a little bit too big. I'm just going to break them in half. At the same time, you don't want to put too many because it's going to be hard to twist them and turn them. And so I have about 1, 2, 3, 6 in there, and we start with that. And as you get more comfortable, you know, and you feel like you can do, you know, a dozen, well then do a dozen. And I'm gonna keep on adding more falafels as they're ready. I got my pitas. Just need to be slightly warm so they don't get too crunchy. And look at this. I think this is a feast to say the least, and I simply cannot wait to share it with my new friends. Thank you very much for watching the show. Thank you very much for all your comments. It made me really, really happy. And I will answer and share all my thoughts with you. But for now, it's time for us to eat, and it's time for you to learn how to make a mezze feast. Thank you for watching. Arrivederci.